Did you know? A number of changes were made throughout the production of the Berserk franchise. The 1997 TV series had a number of changes, including the removal of certain characters, including Puck, as well as removing more violent and brutal scenes. These scenes were removed to make the series more inclusive and to stop through the Golden Age arc as the manga was still ongoing. Series creator Kentaro Miura approved every change made in the TV series, though the TV series was not the only part of Berserk that was subject to censorship. In the third feature film, Descent, from the Berserk Golden Age trilogy, 2 edits of the film were made, one for theaters and one for home video release, as many scenes were deemed too explicit for a theater audience. Speaking of the feature films, the Japanese versions of the films feature completely recast voice actors from the original TV series, while the main characters of Guts, Griffith, and Casca in the English version were brought back due to great demand by fans. This is odd, as it's usually the other way around, as Japanese voice acting continuity between characters, especially from established franchises, is generally not broken. In the original Berserk, aptly named Berserk Prototype, Guts is featured with an eye patch and is going after the main antagonist, the Apostle Vlad Tepes, who is a reference to Vlad the Impaler and Dracula. Guts finds out about Vlad in the manga after he saves a young, pale, wavy-haired girl named Frika. Frika would later serve as a visual prototype to the leader of the Band of the Hawk, Griffith. Speaking of history, the main protagonist Guts shares many similarities with figures in history and fiction. Guts is very similar in certain ways to iterations of Michael Moorcock's Eternal Champion. The prince in the Scarlet Robe, whose first appearance was in 1971, is missing an eye and hand, and his hand is replaced with a mechanical construct while wielding a sword of immense power. The Eternal Champion similarly battles beings of enormous power and extreme destructive capability who are bent upon achieving absolute control over the realms of the multiverse through supernatural means. Guts also shares a lot, including namesake with that of Gottfried von Berlichingen. Known more by his nickname of Guts, Guts von Berlichingen was born in 1480, was a German imperial knight and leader of a band of mercenaries with a reputation as being a Robin Hood-like figure. Guts from Berserk was also a former raid unit leader in the mercenary group known as the Band of the Hawk. One of the key points of similarity with Guts from Berserk, besides the name, was the fact that he was known for his iron prosthetic hand, which is where he earned the nickname Guts of the Iron Hand. Miura was asked in an interview on the North American release of the anime about the similarity. He said, "When I found out about it, I thought it was a strange coincidence. I don't know if he shot arrows from his artificial arm. It was especially uncanny because I had already started Berserk. I wasn't really thinking of anybody at the time I created Guts." The egg-shaped charm known as the Bailet in the Syriac language is the word used for Satan, which goes hand in hand with the fact that the Bailets are the keys used to open the gate to the abyss where the God Hand reside, which resembles many depictions of hell. Many of the God Hand names themselves are inspired by famous science fiction novels. Void shares his name with that of Frank Herbert's Destination Void. Conrad's name comes from Roger Zelazny's And Call Me Conrad. Ubik shares his name with Philip K. Dick's Ubik, and Slan's name comes from A.E. Van Vogt's Slan. Miura has stated on a number of occasions that Berserk has influences tied to cinema. While Femto's name is not a reference to a novel like the other God Hand, Griffith's helmet, and by extension Femto's, bears striking resemblance to Winslow Leach from the 1974 film Phantom of the Paradise. As Miura was working on finishing the opening of Berserk, Evil Dead 2 was playing in Japanese theaters, and Miura remarked at how similar he thought they were. Army of Darkness also proved to not only surprise Miura with the similarities, but also scare him. In Evil Dead 3, I also know it as Captain Supermarket, the main character had his arm cut off, and he had a chainsaw attached to his arm and a shotgun on his back. I was like, what the? Because Guts had a gun on his arm and a huge sword on his back. It was just like Ash. I remember getting worried that I might get sued. When pressed on what was the inspiration for Guts, Miura said that the model he used for Guts was that of Rutger Hauer from Paul Verhoeven's 1985 fantasy film Flesh and Blood. Miura said he also played the lead in The Salute of the Jugger. It was a sci-fi movie, but I thought the character he played was similar to Guts. That's all for today. Don't forget to subscribe us on YouTube and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Make sure you also check out didyouknowanime.net, where we post anime-related trivia every single day. And hey, if you think I'm an okay guy, maybe head on over to DouchebagChocolat, where I review anime, dub over anime, say mean things about anime, yell at my cats, and play video games. It's a pretty messy place when you say it out loud, I guess. You'd be better off just staying here, actually. I mean that wholeheartedly. Don't go over there. That's a bad place for bad people.